Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the 31st episode of the SuperNova Show! And I am your host, Colton Roberts. This week's episode is going to be pretty interesting. We're going to do some Schmoedown collision and talk about some of the updates for next season of Schmoedown. Talk about some fan league stuff if Robert has any of that he wants to talk about. We'll be reviewing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them and Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald, and then doing talking about episode 13 and 14 of The Bad Batch. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on in Mr. Robert Kastner. Hey.
Hey.
So how was your birthday?
Birthday was good. Birthday was awesome. Birthday got out of town. We're almost catching up to my age here in show numbers. And then
we just passed my age, so
yep. We're almost caught up. A couple weeks. By the time football preseason starts, we'll be at mine.
Oh yes. So how have you been?
I've been good. One thing that my wife and I did, we went to a Half Price Books and we bought a bunch of old albums and we bought books. And you always talk about kind of like your reading habits. I have my book that I'm reading that I'm very excited about, and I'm going to display it for everybody.
Oh, Dune.
Yes.
All right.
I am reading Dune, and boy, it is chock full of weird stuff.
Yeah. I've never gotten the chance to read it. I would like to before the movie comes out, but yeah, I've been on Star Wars.
Soon to be a major motion picture, even though it's already been a major motion picture at one point.
Yeah, I've been on a Star Wars: The High Republic binge. I've read like 1,600 pages of Star Wars content in like the last week and a half. So yeah, four books. So.
And I did not know this till I looked in the back. There are 6 Dune books. There's a Dune Chronicles, and all the books look the same.
I wonder how many people have picked up the wrong 2 of the same one and bought it.
Well, I mean, they have different titles. It's like Children of Dune. And...
but if like, let's say if I sent my wife to go pick me up a book, there's a good chance she's going to pick up the same one I already have if they all look the same.
It's true.
Or my mother or anyone like that.
It's true. Otherwise, good. You know, the week of work is done. I was so happy to get to the weekend last week when I finished a day and a half early. And then we were on the vacation. Then we came back and I was like, oh my God, I gotta go back to work already. It didn't seem like I took days off. But we're on the weekend again. So hooray.
Yeah, I understand. Like, things are going pretty well over here. Everything got settled with my injury stuff this week, so I can talk about that now. So now I'm going to be starting putting in job applications some places, because if I don't, no money, no happy wife or anything like that. So, or happy kids.
Yep. They only care about you if you can afford stuff for them.
Oh yeah, totally. But I mean, they would probably want like food and electricity.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I didn't mean like stuff. I meant like the things they need to survive.
Yeah. But yeah, like it's been a good time. Let's go ahead and move on to some Schmoedown Fan League stuff. Do you have anything Fan League wise? I know they announced that TMG is doing their Geek for All thing.
Yes, they are, and that's going to be late August, early September. I forget.
Yeah, probably about a month.
Probably in about a month. I will say that I did have the match that aired against Richard, so I'm still waiting for the match with David for the number 1 contender match. So that's going to be coming up soon. So we'll get to see a Team Geek title match here within the next month, I assume.
Yeah, and then have you had your match with Joe yet?
I don't want to say.
Okay.
What I will say is that I'll just do a brief rundown and kind of where I fit and stuff, fan league wise, for anybody who cares. The summer tournaments for multiplex for both fandom and for Warzone concluded, because today, Friday, we're airing this on Sunday. Friday, they're putting out their big mayhem at the multiplex, which has all the different titles that everybody was going for through the summer tournaments that are wrapping up. So hopefully everybody got a chance to watch all those. I was not involved in any of them, I'm just saying. And then in Full Metal, they're doing their road to the title, of which for things that have aired, I am still on that road to the title. My match against Spence just recently came out. So I am going to be playing Kurt Kolakowski for a chance to be a #1 contender in Full Metal singles. I am shocked. Shocked, I tell you. But here I am, 4-0 in Full Metal. And then you have teams and all that stuff going on. There's still some other stuff that hasn't aired yet. There's a lot of stuff that hasn't aired yet because they're trying to get through a lot of things over in the different places. But that's kind of where the fan leagues are sitting at for the most part. And I think TMG's teams and singles are going to be ramping up a bit so we can get to title shots there. And I know that if you've been paying attention on Facebook, they're doing the movie Battleground. That's going to get ramped up a bit. They have like a tournament, I believe, for that because Joe is the champion in that. And they want somebody, well, he's in the tournament. He's playing in this bracket or whatever. But they want to see if somebody will play him for a title or if he will even get back to defend that title.
Yeah, I know Kevin made the announcement that even though I had declared that I wasn't going to play anymore for a while, I'm going to be in Geek for All.
Yes.
So that's exciting. I've been
Isn't it?
watching some movies. Just like casually, like I forgot how much I love the X-Men movies. I forgot how much I love the X-Men movies. And as of recording, me and my kids and my wife have only watched the first X-Men, but by the time this is released, we'll probably be on Origins.
Yeah.
So we'll probably watch that on Sunday. But
Origins.
Yeah. Which
where everything could be better and you'll see it be better later on in about a decade.
Yes. Yeah, pretty spot on.
Yep.
And then I'm ready to get to First Class because I remember watching that
Class
movie.
is a lot of people say it is the best, and watch it. My thinking starts to progress more and more to that feeling.
Yeah, I personally, Days of Future Past is my favorite.
Yeah,
but I need to rewatch First Class because it might be the best X-Men movie. It might be the best origin movie, comic book movie, period.
It might be.
Like Michael Fassbender as Magneto is so good.
He's very well. It helps when you can speak a lot of languages. It really, like, I think that's why Christoph Waltz has won 2 Oscars. I think when you can credibly speak different languages and things don't have to get dubbed, it seems more realistic. So it really speaks to somebody's pathos, and you can really feel his pathos because of all the lives he lived, even up to that point.
Yeah, that's one thing where I kind of feel sorry for Kevin Feige in the MCU because
it's common.
Yeah, like I don't like Fox did it twice. They did a great Xavier in the original trilogy, and they did a great Magneto in the original trilogy, and then they may have one-upped themselves for James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender.
Maybe.
And I don't know how the MCU and Kevin Feige are going to be able to one-up that, because if they don't, everyone's going to compare them to... And I feel sorry for whoever they put in Wolverine's shoes, too, because, man...
Well, it might be Hugh Jackman. Don't you read the rumors?
Yeah, I have seen those, but even then, like, I mean, I'm cool with that, especially since the multiverse has exploded. So it could be possible that we get Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy. I just don't want them after Dark Phoenix. Like, if we can stop it, like right after, if the multiverse opens up right after First Class, that'd be good.
Well, yeah, that would be nice, but
That would be
probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
But the last thing I watched for geek-related stuff was the Lego Batman movie.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, it still made me chuckle. And that's what I care about.
I'm excited to play in the Geek for All, and if they'll let me play in the tournament, I will totally play in the tournament.
Hey, look at you.
But since I haven't had, I'm 1-3, so I don't know if I need another match between now and then.
You would probably need to play a play-in.
Yeah, so, but if they let me, I will totally have another match.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not doing anything, and I'm like not having to be stressed out about the legal stuff anymore. I can just
so you feel more fancy free. And
yes, absolutely. Like, I mean, that's the reason why I've been able to read 4 books in the last week and a half, because I have been so not stressed with everything. But so yeah, like I'll play another match. Like I will totally play again. Like I'm cool with it. At least in that, like I'll play in that league and I'll play in Full Metal. Like, but
I assume I just will never play there again, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
No, kidding. I want to play again. I just, it's been so long and I have so many other things going on. I'm like,
Yeah, and in Full Metal, we're both 0-1, right?
We are indeed. Yes.
So, hey.
Why, you want to play me?
I mean, no, but I'm saying, like, at least it makes sense that they're playing having all these matches that are leading up to the
last one they just aired was Poho versus Eli McKeag.
Yeah.
And they were 2 people who were 3 games under 500. I think both of them, if not more. No, I was under the impression I would pay my faction mate Tyler, and I thought it was one of those, hey, you guys played well enough to win, but you didn't, so you guys get to play against each other. And I was like, I'd rather play against someone so I could get a win, because it's the only league I don't have a win in, and I would really like to get one if possible. The TM Geek tournament, my goal is to not be playing in it, because I would like to win 2 more matches and be out of it. That would be fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if the Geek for All is like normal free for all, it's only gonna be like surface level stuff, which is the stuff I've been studying. But I've also been watching stuff that I enjoy. So if they ask a plot question, then I'll know. But man, if they ask anything like plot related about like Jonah Hex or any of that crap,
Fort Resurrection. Just remember, Fort Resurrection. Michael Fassbender, also in Jonah Hex.
Yep.
That's important. No, I mean, did you see the list, by the way, everybody? The list, the TM Geek list.
Yes. I have it saved in my Safari, so I can, because I have no cards for most of the movies, but there's some like the mixed bag categories that I don't have the time to write those out, so I just look at it, then Google it, and then look over it real quick, the IMDb and stuff, and then, that's pretty much what I do.
I'm trying to focus on the categories that I don't know as well for the sake of my upcoming match. So that's why I was watching what I was watching.
Yeah, I had to send Kevin a message. I was like, so Wonder Woman, or not one, Black Widow's not going to be in it. He's like, nope, because I want to see it in the theater and I haven't had the chance to, and I don't want other people that haven't had the chance to do that because of this entire thing, and they don't feel comfortable with buying it online or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I went to the theater and saw it, and I bought it online. So
I think you got to give people an opportunity. Well, I mean, it has to have an opportunity to be out of theaters. I know it's streaming, but that's not the same. And I think by the time it'll be out, will be like December, and the season will be over. So probably for next year, probably for Team Geek Season 3.
Yep. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got, fan wise. If you want to move on to Schmoedown,
might as well. I covered everything I want to.
Okay, so I took some notes.
Okay.
So, have you watched any of the stuff that's gone on this week?
I was going to watch Danger Zone and Lightning Time, and I ran out of time.
But okay, so I watched that.
Yes.
That was a good match.
Yes.
That's one of those matches where like I think it's been the last 2 times that. Do you care if I talk about this?
No. I don't give a crap about spoilers. It's fine.
Okay, so Lightning Time won, but it's the same way whenever Ethan Irwin and Ben Bateman played back at whatever that event was. Like Ethan, like after Dan and Ben gave their answer, he was like, they got it. And then they called the winner, and it was Lightning Time won. And Ethan just has the biggest surprise on his face because he didn't think that he won. And I'm like, huh.
Do you remember the question that was asked? No? Okay.
No, I'm trying to remember. Nope, I do not.
Okay, that's fun.
But yeah, no. And then on Schmoedown Backstage, they had Christian on, and next season's going to be really different. Like I wanted to talk to Amaru about it, but so apparently next year they will still have factions, but the factions will not be as big of a deal. Like the factions are only going to have 5 people.
What?
Yep. Like because the way he talked about it this is he wants to do certain matchups, but guess what? If they have 2 people in the same faction, you can't really do that matchup storyline wise. But he wants to do storylines, and he wants to do like the league wants to still do the faction championship. So he's compromised with them that they can have each faction can have 5 people, 1 Star Wars, 1 IG, 1 team, and then an extra singles person. And but players don't have to be on a faction to play. They can still play, or midway through the season, a faction could emerge. Like he used the example of if next season Emma Fife came back and reinstituted the Fife Club and brought back Clark Wolf and Rachel Cushing, she could midway through the season, she would be in for the faction championship. But if Rachel Cushing just returned on her own at like a live event, she could challenge for the challenge in a match, but it wouldn't be worth any points at that point. If you're playing someone who's not in a faction, and like the factions won't be as important as they are right now, it will still be the sports element, but there will be the entertainment element as well. And he said, yeah, so that could be interesting. Like I kind of like that, but at the same time, I'm like, ooh, I wonder how many people will choose just to not be in a faction because it's not as big of a deal. Like obviously, like look at the dungeon. They're gonna when Smets comes back, they'll have 3 IG players. If they're only allowed to have 1, then
it'll be Parker.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who do they drop? Parker, Mara, or Smets? Because Smets and are like,
I thought you said they can only keep 1.
Well, because what Christian said was you have 1 Star Wars player, 1 IG player, 1 team, and then 1 singles person.
Okay.
So
wait. So your team your singles person has to be different than who's on your team?
Well, no, because like the teams people, they can also do singles, but you get an additional singles person.
Okay.
So if there's someone who only does singles and they don't do teams, then whatever. Like, but like he said, like you could see matchups that you can't see right now. Like he's talked about how last year they were going to have a live event in Boston, and he was going to have do a storyline where whoever was challenging the founding fathers weren't going to be able to be in the match. So right as soon as Dan and Roker were going to be called the winners, then you hear the Patriots music play. And he was like, I have all these good ideas, but the storylines and the factions are kind of getting in the way a little bit because you can only do so much online with 2 people just looking at each other on a screen. And if 2 players that are in opposite factions, they can't really do stuff like that. Like you never see Robert and Mara be in a match because they're both members of the dungeon.
That's really dumb. Who cares?
Yeah, but I mean, I understand. Like, there's these big matchups that they want to have that they can't if they can't have it because the two people are in the same faction.
No, I meant that faction rule is dumb. Just have the match. Who cares about this? This is to me, because I was never a storyline person, really. This is where storylines to me ruin the game. Because when you have rules like this, and I know what you're saying is that they're getting rid of this rule, or they're getting rid of the device that creates this rule. But this is where stuff like that really pisses me off. I'm like, I just want to see the best matches. I don't give a crap about the storylines. Just let's see the best people play. And that's important to me. So who cares if they're in the same faction, honestly?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's
have the points if you're gonna do that, then just have the points. What's the big then it's the same device, right? So just have the points. That's my thought process.
Yeah. And then of course, by the time this releases, Collision will be out.
Yes.
But as of recording, it is not. So let's track it back a little bit. And me and Amaru have talked. My curse is definitely valid. Because
Mark Yoder Riley won.
Yep. Yeah, because I chose Liz, and then I chose Danger Zone over Lightning Time this week, and Lightning Time won. So, yeah, my curse is definitely valid, and
yes, I agree.
So I told him last week there were a few matches for Collision I didn't want to say anything about because I don't want to jinx
him.
Specifically, his match versus Saul. But also, I really don't want to like the team's title match. That one as well.
I'm over 50%. I have a good winning percentage, so I will say Rue is going to win that match.
Okay. What do you think about Kelly versus Demolanta?
Demolanta.
Okay, so I said Kelly last week, and I will still say Kelly. And hopefully, I mean, now I feel bad if the curse does happen. I'm sorry, Laura Kelly. I apologize.
Yep, she's watching. She's watching now. She's pissed off.
Yeah, so technically, like I told Amaru, is they had already filmed all of Collision before I started talking. So I don't think I can retroactively affect the past. But
I disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not. I hope I am not that powerful to be able to do that.
If you've ever watched the movie Paycheck, time, loops back around, and you can, if you have a certain device, you can see through it because there's like windows through time, and it comes back. If you want to believe a stupid 2000s Ben Affleck action movie.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think. What's the other?
Kevin Smith versus Marisol.
Yeah, Marisol versus Kevin Smith.
I'm gonna go with Marisol.
That is also who I'm going with.
Okay.
And just like I told Amaru last week, is if Kevin Smith wins, I'm not making predictions.
Okay. I just think he's been good, obviously, and he was good in the Stacy match. But again, he's leveling up here in terms of competition, and we need to see what that looks like when he's playing somebody of that caliber.
Yeah, and then do you have any because I know Christian said this week there is going to be some storyline stuff that happens at Collision.
Of course.
Is there any predictions that you have for anything?
Blah, blah, blah. My prediction is that there will be more upheaval within the Schmoedown power hierarchy. Something will happen, and somebody will be removed from a position and be replaced with somebody else.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe there'll be more of that Andrew Guy storyline where, Grace said the words that activated his Winter Soldier program. So maybe, more to that will happen because, even it was a few months ago whenever he was having a interview with Jen Starger, he called her Jessica and then, switched out for a minute, and then was like, what? Jen, go to Jen. And I'm like, that's like one of those moments as well. Like, but my major prediction for stuff was kind of thwarted because they announced that the winner of Lightning Time versus Danger Zone will go on to play Final Exam for a #1 contenders match.
Mm.
And I hate that they did that because my idea was because the championship match is live in studio.
You wanted somebody to come in.
I thought after the match, Oyama was going to cash in his thing.
Well, no, that's not going to happen now.
Which, I mean,
I guess he could. I guess he could for a singles bout, right?
Well, I was going to say, because technically he could cash in on the teams, and then they could just say, ooh, Lightning Time's the new #1 contenders.
I guess.
We'll play whoever just lost the title in that.
So then announcements don't mean anything either.
Yeah, because they could be like...
Because we're like, it's this. But no, actually, it's not that because we already knew that something else had happened. And
yeah,
I can tell you.
Yeah, like, it's so weird watching people, like, talk about, hey, I have an upcoming match that I got to play. And then hey, they've already filmed this, so they know what's up. Like,
guess what? I already did that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I suspected, but it's not like you're cutting a promo or whatever.
Oh, brother, I'm going to take Kirk and I'm going to wrap him into a Slim Jim and snap him. Oh, yeah. Like that.
It's like last year when John Roca was on backstage and he was talking about his match with Collins and being like, the kid's new. I know I got this. I can win. And I'm like, in hindsight, he knocked you out.
No, you didn't. You didn't have anything.
Yeah, like, that's so weird, but it's whatever. And just like, I know, like, the last 3 weeks, Amaru hasn't been able to talk about Collision.
Nope. Fortunately, that will all be over tomorrow. And
yes. So, and I got to ask him if he knows when his match is going to play in Collision. If he does, that's when I'll turn Collision on.
Okay.
It starts at like 3 p.m. Eastern time, and that's right in the middle of the afternoon. So I'm like, that's going to be a hard time to watch 6 hours of Schmoedown content.
The multiplex at the Mayhem that I was talking about, it's in 3 big videos, and the first video aired at 1 p.m. Eastern. So,
yeah,
I was like, huh? Oh, and that's on a Friday where like people are still working and stuff.
Oh, well, I guess like that one's not live, so I guess that makes more sense. But this one is live for everyone. Like they're not. They made it public, so some people are gonna have to take time out of their Saturdays just so they don't get spoiled, like, or stay off
the
Facebook group or whatever. But yeah, that's my major prediction. Is I think if Corruption wins, so Final Exam will cash in.
Okay. But if Shazam defends, you think that will be held off?
Yes, because I think they won't want a face team cashing in on a vulnerable other face team for storyline purposes.
They don't think they can beat Shazam.
Yeah, but I think they like all this stuff. I'm sure is storyline based. Like I'm sure they probably talk to Paul and be like, "Hey, are you cool with cashing in at Collision, or do you want to cash in on Spectacular?" I don't know if they talk to these people. It's not like with the Geek for All, where I hate that they said that, oh, yeah, you're not going to be able to cash it in after another championship match because we're not going to be, like, prepared for that. And, like, I've talked to Kevin.
They don't have the writers and the money.
Right, but, like, let's say, for an example, if I won, I would be like, hey, Kevin, I'm going to cash it in on this day after the championship match and give them, like, 2 months' notice so they could prepare another match. But because it's supposed to be anytime, anywhere, right?
Ideally, yes.
But
I think everybody should be prepared for that, so it can be that kind of surprise.
Yeah, but of course, like with Joe being the champion, he is 6 hours ahead of us Eastern time people, so he might like want to sleep and stuff. which kind of gets in the way of whatever. But yeah, I guess we'll see how this all goes. Like, that's my major prediction for Collision.
You didn't predict Shazam and...
Yep, because I said last week that I like Shazam too much to curse them, but I also like Mike and Chance.
Okay. I'm going with Shazam. So
yeah, I think they are probably the best team ever.
They might be the most skilled team ever. They need to win a little bit more to be the best team ever, but they might be the most skilled team ever
because they've had the most wins in Schmoedown history.
But that's just because teams that have been they have more wins than the Patriots. There's no way.
Yeah, I think they both.
I thought the Patriots had like 10 wins.
Yeah, and I think they just got 10 wins.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I felt like they were at 8. They're at 10.
I'm pretty sure, but I'm about to go
look that up because that seems crazy to me. But I mean, the only reason that's the case is because teams broke up too quickly. Like Above the Line probably could have been the best team ever, but they broke up too quickly.
Yeah, they're 10-2.
Holy shit!
That's what the Patriots
are, but the Patriots defended more, so the Patriots get the edge. Even though I think they're more talented.
Yeah,
that's my basis of demarcation.
Yeah, even though like there's at least 3 of those wins that the Patriots got that would not have won in modern format.
No, they wouldn't have won in the Trek one.
Yeah, they definitely
lost the Trek. Scott Mance could have been a champion.
Yep.
Think about that.
Oh yeah, that was one other thing when we were talking about the factions and stuff. Is he was like, I've really wanted to promote Roca versus Mance 3, but Scott Mance refuses to be in a faction. So with the last 2 seasons, he wants to just do the fun thing and play whatever. And he's like,
crap, if he's in a faction, they doesn't have to. They can work around him. He can just be there to do something.
Yeah, but a faction's not going to pick up a person who's only going to play 1 game a season. You would think.
Oh, you think they only want him and he only wants to do the local match. He doesn't want to be around to do the matches like he used to in 2017. I got you. Okay.
Like he'd be cool with like big matches, like if Trek reformed or a Roca match.
Gosh, I wish Trek would reform. That'd be awesome.
But like stuff like that, I'm sure he would come back for that. But and it doesn't make sense to draft someone if they're never going to play. Which guess what?
According to your next year, factions are going to be almost.
Well, they'll be half of what they are now.
Yeah, so he could do it then.
Yeah.
Does anybody want Mance Roca 3? Honestly, I might have wanted it 2 years ago.
I think a live crowd would like it.
Okay, fair.
It could be a live event, but I don't think anyone online would want it.
No, I don't care. Roca's way better than Mantis. I think that.
Yeah.
Over time.
And they announced that the winner of Marisol and Kevin Smith will play in September, and then the winner of that match
they'll play Dan in September, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, or Ethan. Because I'm not. But
I looked at it was a Tom Hanks question about 2 weird characters from an 80s Tom Hanks movie. And I didn't hear I wasn't like watching it, but yeah, I saw the reaction that you had mentioned. But
yeah. And yeah, like I already put out there that I thought Dan Murrell would win against Ethan.
Yeah.
So, and I think he'll end up winning against Marisol or Kevin.
Yeah.
To go on, and in October is going to be when they have the this little mini bracket that they have with Jeff Snyder, Chance, Adam, and JTE. The winner of that little mini bracket will be in the main event of the New York show with Dan. So that's something. But yeah,
yes, let's just say whoever wins between Dan and Ethan, they will definitely be in New York.
I don't know. Like if Ethan wins, I think there's a better shot that Marisol can take Ethan than Marisol can take Dan.
Okay.
But I mean,
I like the way you think.
we've seen Ethan can be Dan, but we've also seen, but that was like right after his comeback, so he hasn't been able to do it since then.
Nope.
But I don't think anyone, like, it's really hard. Like, you have to go perfect to beat Dan Murrell now.
Usually.
Yeah, like, I mean, pretty much all he does now is because he moved to Arkansas, so he's not with Screen Junkies anymore. So all he does is work on his YouTube channel and study trivia.
Yep.
Like, if you do that, you need to, like, go perfect.
That's I wish that could be my life. It sounds like a cool life. I gotta be honest. If that was my life, I would be super content.
Yep. But all right, so let's move on and talk about Fantastic Beasts and where to find them, and Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald. Yeah. Eddie Redmayne's good.
I mean, yes, but he's kind of. I mean, he's. How do I put this delicately? So he won the Oscar, right? He beat Michael Keaton. He won the Oscar for playing Stephen Hawking.
Yes,
who's a person with a physical disability. It's like Newt Scamander is a person with a mental disability, akin to what Stephen Hawking had, and that's like how he plays it for the purposes of this Fantastic Beasts movie. He is a good actor overall. I just don't think the character is like particularly well written.
Yeah, like it's weird following an author of a book that is a textbook in the Harry Potter books. Like, I mean, and yes, you can have the book in real life, but like it doesn't. And
I once thought about buying it, so yes.
Yeah, and like I assume him and Tina are going to get together eventually, because he does have kids, and those kids do have other kids that then his grandson eventually marries Luna Lovegood. So
yeah, him and Porpentina do end up together. I think she's the only one who could probably stand him. Yeah. Well, Lita could have, but spoilers, she's gone.
Yeah, yeah, that's such a weird use of Zoe Kravitz.
Yes, trust me, I'm much more looking forward to her use of being Selena Kyle in 8 months than I am of how she was used in the Harry Potter universe.
Yeah, and then even her use, like, since we were talking about X-Men, her use as Angel in First Class is also really odd.
She was young though. She had no cachet behind her. So that's.
Yeah, I guess that was 10 years ago, right?
Yes, it was.
Man.
Yeah, I know. I graduated from college more than 10 years ago. It makes me upset.
Yeah, 7 for me. Thanks for that. That's really good to think about. Yeah, like it's quite a. I don't know what just happened to me. So
yeah, what happened? I'm curious.
Yeah, I looked at your screen, thought it was my screen, and was like, when did I get an Avengers poster in my room?
Yeah.
I looked around and was like, I don't. And I just had a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so weird.
I was wondering where you were going with this.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I just.
Please continue.
Yeah, I don't even know. But yeah, so.
Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, Fantastic Beasts. I will say, like, I think the first one is kind of boring. Like all the stuff with
I don't give a crap about, woman strangler Ezra Miller and everything going on.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Like freaking good lord. And then of course, like they got Percival Graves in here, and you're like, hey, and he has the same haircut as that Grindelwald fella from the beginning of the movie. I guarantee that guy's not the bad guy. And then you're like watching it, and like through the movie, you're like, I'm pretty sure this is Grindelwald. This is absolutely going to be Grindelwald. Colin Farrell is Grindelwald.
You're right. There are a lot of storylines in here, and they have them, but they're so boring that they don't matter. Like, I don't give a crap about John Voight and his sons.
Yeah, no, not at all.
That's all. And I've heard their names like a dozen times, and I still don't remember them or the actors who play them.
Yeah, nope. Now there is the moment where like they absolutely confirm it's Grindelwald. Like whenever he goes to Credence and he gives him the Deathly Hallows pin, and he's like, just touch it when you need to talk to me or whatever. And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, that's not subtle at all. Grindelwald was obsessed with the Deathly Hallows at this point in his life. He has one. So yeah, thank you for that. But and then I don't even know.
It was not. I mean, it's a fun idea for a book because all you ever really got were Hagrid's classes, right? When it came to magical creature information.
Yeah.
So the design there, it's supposed to be a nice inlet to more Harry Potter stuff, to more Wizarding World stuff, but it didn't really seem like they thought much beyond the concept of, oh, this is like a nice inroad. We can look at this other part of the wizarding landscape, and how do we make that a movie? How do we make it a franchise for 5 movies?
Yeah, like I wish they had explored. Like, there's the one line where Queenie is talking to Newt about Ilvermorny being the best wizarding school in the world, and he's like, "No, Hogwarts is." And I'm like, "That's the one." That and the MACUSA are the only real American wizard stuff that they reference, and I hate it because Ilvermorny is so cool. Like in the lore of Ilvermorny, you find out that like a descendant of Salazar Slytherin started that school, and like the contrast between like she uses her magic for healing, and because like snakes aren't just signs of death, but they're also signs for healers. Mm-hmm. It's on the whatever the medical staff is, that Hermes. I don't remember what Greek god. He had a staff that has a snake on it, but it's supposed to be a great healer. And it's like such a big contrast between Voldemort, who wants everyone to die, but himself, and Iseult Sire, which is the American girl who creates Ilvermorny and like is a good place for like learning and healing and all that stuff. But they don't explore that at all.
No, it's just supposed to be. So the things that are supposed to be fun tidbits are used to try to craft movies, and the things that they could use to craft movies are set as fun little tidbits. So they completely backwarded how it is that these movies should have been constructed.
Yeah, and then
and of course Colin Farrell's the bad guy. What's he going to be? Just like another random wizard like hanging out? Come on.
Yeah, and then like they introduce that pool of black liquid that apparently kills on touch.
Yes.
But they couldn't hold not to fast forward to the next movie, but they said that they couldn't hold him, so they had to take him back to Europe, fly on Thestrals all the way across the Atlantic Ocean because they can't hold him in America.
During the worst storm you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. Like, you could just dip him in the Black Death thing, and guess what? There it is.
Maybe they discontinued right after the Newt Tina escape. Maybe they were like, maybe that's a little too much.
Yeah, and like, so there's a thing, how like they talk about in Deathly Hallows Part 2 that Harry got the Elder Wand because he took Draco's other one.
Yes. physically grabbed.
So how is it that Tina is not the master of the Elder Wand when she disarmed Grindelwald as Graves and took the wand?
No, that's new. That's new magic stuff. That didn't happen in the 40s. Nobody cared. Like, you know what I mean? Or the 20s. Nobody was. That wasn't alive as an available thing to do.
Yeah, but like if the wand changes that, like we've talked about how like the movie does it better with Harry snapping the wand and throwing it into throwing it away.
Yeah,
because in the books he's so arrogant, being like, no one would ever take this from me. But if your kid accidentally like pulls the wand out of your hand or whatever, now he's the master of the Elder Wand. Like that should be the same way here, right? Unless like somewhere in another movie
that didn't work in the 20s. I'm saying it was like it's like old math and new math, old magic and new magic. New magic came, and then apparently you could just disarm people by unhanding somebody, disarm that way.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the first movie. It's one of those moments where I understand that they had to make 5, but it would have been a sweet like just one-off.
It should have been a one-off.
Like
it should have never tried to. Grindelwald should have not been in it. It should have just been an Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander, like traversing across lands and looking at cool animals and like having to hunt one down, or not hunt them down, but like trying to protect one. It should have been like one of those kinds of things, like a nature preserve type of movie. But no, they were like, no, we have to fit this into things that people know about and like about the original 8. And that's not what it should have been.
Yeah, now it's going to be 3 more. And like the third one's coming. The third one is definitely coming. And
yeah, it's like the X-Men of Harry Potter. Like we'll be in a different decade every movie. And then even though we're supposed to meet in the timeline, they'll fuck that up too. And then nothing will match up.
Yeah, because like the movies have to end by 1945. Like me and
yeah, they should, but I'm gonna bet they don't. That's my prediction.
Yeah, like me and Amaru talked about it last week. Is like, is there anyone from like the Harry Potter lore that you want to show up in these movies? Because I have 2. Because like the third or fourth one, obviously there's going to have to be like a 10-year gap between second and third, or third and fourth, just to make up for the amount of time that they're. Because if number 5 ends in 1945, then that's 18 years that they have to do between the second one and the 5th one.
By the way, that's so much masturbatory practice just to get to the Dumbledore Grindelwald duel.
Yep.
5 movies. We have to do 5 movies to set up.
Well, because technically they're Fantastic Beast movies. So, like I told Amaru, is technically one of the movies could all be about the Chamber of Secrets being opened the first time. Because technically the Basilisk is a Fantastic Beast. So if they introduce a young Tom Riddle there, heck, they could use Kid Tom Riddle from Half-Blood Prince. He would be old enough to be high school Tom Riddle now. So, like, they could do that. Like, they already have the casting that then.
I think he'd be older than that.
Well, he was probably.
He's probably like 10. He's probably like 23 now.
Well, yeah, but a 23-year-old can play a 17-year-old. Like,
yeah,
that happens. And so we could see something like that, and it just be like that's how like maybe Dumbledore becomes aware of Tom, but he's still focused on Grindelwald at this point, and he's not really focused on Voldemort. But it could also be like how Hagrid learns to take care of magical creatures is his experience with Newt.
Okay.
Since they both got suspended from Hogwarts, that could be like a conjoining thing.
Maybe there's
and they both like animals. Like if he shows them, hey, Aragog didn't do this thing, and of course Newt's going to believe him because that's what he does. But yeah, like, and obviously Dumbledore believes him because at least in the books, the Ministry breaks his wand, but obviously he, gets it constructed inside the umbrella so he can still use magic. So, like, if both of them believe Hagrid, then and that could lead to why, like, Hagrid eventually becomes the magical creatures teacher at Hogwarts or whatever. So, like, these set of movies don't always have to be with Grindelwald. Obviously, the third one will because they cast Mad Mikkelsen, but which I don't know. Like, he's a great actor, and like I've liked that he has came out and said that he wishes he could talk to Johnny Depp about the role, which at least shows that hey, he's willing to do the work. But I don't know, like that entire situation is bizarre.
I think they probably should have just cut their losses, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should have just like, she's not great at writing scripts. She's great at writing movies. Either let her give the idea of what the movie is going to be and then let an actual professional script writer write the script, or just write 3 books that are these 3 movies and release them and say, yep, no more movies. But I guarantee that was probably like a Warner Brothers thing. They were like, ooh, we want that Harry Potter money. So she probably can't do that. Like, release them as books now. Because I would much rather have them as books. Because the stories are very, like, during that time would be very interesting. But I don't know. Yep.
The point of my assessment, first movie, you're right. It's boring. It has some things that are endearing, but for the most part, it's boring. And then the second movie is just a hot garbage mess. It's just a hot mess of garbage that makes no sense. Story-wise, it makes no sense. Logic-wise, it makes no sense. Character-wise, there's a lot of things that just don't add up. But they tried to make it into a 2+ hour movie.
Yeah, like I do like the entire, like, we get to know the Lestrange family because obviously we've only ever heard of them via, Helen Bonham Carter's Bellatrix. So, and she married into the family, so she's not even a real Lestrange. She's a black. So it's nice to see what they're all about. And I also really like Grindelwald's little rally because you understand, like, those are the people that eventually become Voldemort's followers too, because they have the exact same.
You like his hookah, his future hookah, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I like the fact that they explore that he's a seer, and that's the way he's able to see. Like, he has all these visions, but to like show them to other people. And then I like Jacob's reaction to, oh no, there's going to be another war, because obviously, like, at the time they thought, it was the war to end all wars. Was the First World War.
Great War. It was the Great War.
Yeah, and like the thought of someone who actually fought in it and is not magical, and he's like, another one's coming. Crap. And like they don't even know. Like, yeah, World War II is
no.
Yeah, like World War II is bad. Like, yeah, they see the nuke, which I understand, like that would scare some wizards, but I've never, like, up until this moment, I've never understood why wizards would just be afraid of humans. But like a nuke could wipe out their entire civilization, even if they were able to like do something about it. I've never understood why like the wizards, like up until like, Voldemort takes over the Ministry and then he's like, hey, yeah, Muggles, let's step on them or whatever. Until then, I never understood like why wizards would be so afraid and weirded out by Muggles. But it's moments like this where I'm like, oh yeah, because some guy showed you a weird thing that they make and they kill each other with these horrible weapons, which I mean we do still, today. But yeah, I don't know. I hope the third one's good. God, I hope the third one's good. Because even if it's not, they're going to get 2 more. And I would rather watch 3 good movies than 3 awful movies.
I think over under of goodness is 1.5, and I'm gonna take the under.
Yeah, I just figure like I'm obviously gonna watch the movies because I love the Wizarding World like universe, so I'm gonna watch them, and I would rather enjoy myself than not. So here's the hoping that they'll be good.
Okay. I wish I had your optimism.
Oh well, thank you. Yep. All right. Let's go ahead and we're gonna move on to some TV. The Bad Batch episode
No Loki.
14. So 13 was interesting. We meet the Deveronian character named Roland.
Yes.
I'm trying to think what else. Like obviously they stole the spice from the Pikes, which I as a person who I've watched the rest of the animated stuff. I don't know if you have.
No.
But during this time period, the Pikes work for Darth Maul.
Of course.
And so, and what you kind of see at the end of Solo is he's kind of running the criminal underground stuff. So I'm like, ooh, I was waiting for a reference, but then I thought to myself, good Lord, I hope not, because even though I love Darth Maul, I don't want to see him because there's no way they'll be able to stand up to him. So I hope he just stays in the shadows and, you know.
Yeah, I doubt he'll show up in the show. I think
Yeah, like even if it's just of a hologram of him, I don't want to see it. Like even though
people can use the Force through holograms. I've seen it.
Yeah, like I like the idea that he's staying out of the way, and then once Crimson Dawn fails, he brings Kira along, which we don't know what. We don't know what happens there. Like we know Kira and both him separate because she's in the comics right now, post Empire Strikes Back, and she's got, spoiler alert out there, people, but she's got Han's carbonated body because Boba's lost it, and she's like, ooh, now I can save him like he saved me or some nonsense. But you know that doesn't go well because he ends up on Jabba's wall. But and we know Obi-Wan kills Maul on Tatooine, so we know both of kind of where their stories go. But
I mean, yeah, no, I don't think that's going to progress to the point where they want to throw him in there. I think they're trying to keep this as Jedi-less as possible. Like we had the little bit when Order 66 started at the beginning, and I can't imagine maybe something else at the end, but I don't think there's going to be anything else in between.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing I could figure is if they ever go to Tatooine, you might see Ben Kenobi, because they might not recognize. Well, no, they would recognize. So no, they don't need to do that.
Yeah,
they would absolutely know who Obi-Wan was.
they would have to.
Yeah. So. Yep, because I remember like in the in season 7 of the Clone Wars, they do meet Obi-Wan. So I was thinking they had met Anakin. And not just Anakin, but they meet Obi-Wan too. So, and Echo would know who he was, even if the other didn't. But yeah, like I like that they're building relationships with like the scum and villainy of the galaxy.
Yeah, then, the Sid stuff is pretty weak overall, but the missions themselves that revolve around her criminal empire, quote unquote, always tend out to be entertaining of a sort. So this one just hit close to home, right? That's basically what this one was. It was, what did somebody say? It was like, I saw a review. It was like Lord of the Rings meets Indiana Jones. I saw that. It's like a review of it. And I was like, yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah. And then of course, episode 14, they get a beacon.
What was it called?
War Mantle?
War Mantle, thank you. I was trying to
so the entire episode, I thought, because there was a thing, it was called Project War Mantle, which they do hint at that the stormtroopers are being trained by clones, and that's what Project War Mantle was. And then in Legends, Project War Mantle ended with the Kaminoans turning the clones on the Empire, and then them having a big civil war on Kamino.
Yeah.
So the entire episode, I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna see it," and we kind of do see. Like we see, it's Lama Se, right?
Lama Su.
Lama Su. He gets shot up, and
presumably he's behind a door. We don't know what happens, but presumably he is murdered.
Yes.
And the other Kaminoan, who's not Tanway, but the other one, whose name I don't know.
The scientist.
Yes.
Which that's interesting because obviously if they're vacating Kamino and taking her with them, we know that she does not survive the experience because their cloning is significantly, it does not happen in the original trilogy, and their cloning is significantly worse post Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Like if they had a Kaminoan who actually knew what they were doing, then they wouldn't have those weird Snoke looking vats in The Mandalorian. And the Snoke clones and the Palpatine clones in Rise of Skywalker would not be so jacked up.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that's really interesting to see where that goes. I am afraid that she's probably gonna end up dead. So like,
imagine there will be many surviving.
Yeah, like maybe because I think they're gonna end up going back to Kamino to get Hunter. Once
well, he's not on Kamino though.
Yeah, but I figure that's where they'll take it. And like, because
I think so.
Well, the entire season, like Hunter's been promising her, "Hey, you won't have to go back there," and now she's gonna have to go back there to save him. And like that would be like a nice poetic moment, I would assume. But and she really has a thing for Omega. Like she wants to keep her safe and stuff because she's, the only one that they can get to actually make new clones and stuff.
Oh, besides Boba, who you talked about a meeting right at the end, that he comes to save them.
Yeah, which now I'm wondering if that will even happen. Like,
there's only 2 episodes left, right?
Yeah. So unless they haven't said anything about a new season, but heck, they didn't say that there was going to be there wasn't going to be a second season of Loki until it happened. So it could be like a thing where they reveal it.
I mean, we didn't know there was going to be a book of Boba Fett until the end of Mandalorian season 2. So,
yeah. So that could just be what Disney Plus is doing now.
Yeah, they play things close to the vest. Well, Disney Plus does that and angers their female stars to the point where they want to be litigious against them.
Man, that is going to be a disaster. Like, have you heard about that?
Well, we're at Scarlett Johansson, and I know Emma Stone is considering it for Cruella. And then there was somebody else who I just read was also considering it. I can't remember who it was.
Apparently, Emily Blunt is apparently considering it for Jungle Cruise, and so is The Rock.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my Lord, if this happens, the mouse is screwed.
Not really. They'll be fine.
Not really, but the bad publicity, like, people already don't like Bob Chapek for everything he's doing over there. Like, they don't like that he's the new CEO and stuff. Yeah. And he's been doing like because he was a park guy. Like he headed up their parks, and that's what he cares about. So he's opened them up fully, and like all he cares about is how do I get money, and like.
Well, it's not like Bob Iger, was it?
Yeah, but at least like
that way too.
Like Kevin Feige came out today and also came out and discussed about the Scarlett Johansson.
Well, that's because Kevin Feige knows where his bread is buttered, and Kevin Feige is smart enough that he wants to be on the right side of history. He doesn't really give a shit about the industrial complex. He wants to be on the right side of history all the time. So.
Yeah, so like all these people are coming out and being like, "Yeah, this is jacked up that you guys didn't like make a new deal with her." or anything. Like at least
I'm so sorry. She's gonna have to settle for her piddly 30 or 40 million or whatever it's gonna be.
I mean, all right, like I've seen a lot of people say that too, but I'm
I know, I'm kidding. I mean, in relative to what like RDJ got through his run as being Iron Man, it's pennies. But I'm just saying.
And apparently, most of her salary was coming off of is box office, so she may not have made a whole lot for the movie.
She's made 20 million already.
Yeah, which I mean that is a lot of money to our standards, but comparatively to like again, like you said, Robert Downey Jr. got paid $150 million.
Well, I mean, the big thing about this is that she should have gotten a movie earlier when COVID wasn't a problem, and then she would have made her money on the back end like she should have. But the problem is that COVID happened right when her movie was supposed to come out. It's bad timing, bad luck, but it was also bad movie release schedule on their part. So
yeah, and like Warner Brothers, when they did the thing for Wonder Woman 89, 88,
84.
84. And it was sometime before I was born. Man, that movie was something.
So long, but continue.
Yeah, they came out and were like, they gave Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot like $30 million a piece, and we're like, yeah, this isn't going to go to theaters, and we know you have deals for that, so here is our way of compensating. And I guarantee, like in the future, like all Disney and all entertainment contracts will be like, hey, in the case of a global pandemic, we will release this on streaming, and you'll get this percentage of the streaming because they don't want people like crap like this happening, being able to sue.
Well, Los Angeles Superior Court's just gonna be. Well, I imagine it already has been over time since it's been in existence, but just rife with celebrity lawsuits.
Yep. But
getting back to the Bad Batch, right?
Yep.
So my favorite part about these two episodes was Gregor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I loved him. I thought he was super awesome. And we got the explanation. I mean, you've read the books and watched the other stuff, so you're talking about Project War Mantle. But for laymen who don't go that deep, when you hear the part where they mentions about training these stupid ass troopers, it's like, you train these guys not very well. And he's like, I could I? That would have been dumb. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, and then you saw the troopers with the lit up visors. Yes. They're members of a clone force called Delta Squad.
Yes.
So like they're obviously cool with it. So I mean the stormtroopers are never going to get the training that they're supposed to get. Obviously, we see that. But yeah,
maybe if the Empire had invested more money in their infantry and less money in their too big to fail weapons programs, maybe they would have survived a bit longer.
Well, and that's the thing is like even then they're super commandos and their death troopers all have great training. It's just their everyday lonely planetary patrols. They're like, just
they make up like 95% of their militarized forces.
Like their pilots are trained well. It's just their army, their maintained like people are awful.
I mean, the pilots are trained, but like the naval officers are stupid.
Yeah. Besides like Tarkin, he's the only one that's.
Well, I mean, Thrawn is.
Yeah, that's true.
Thrawn is a brilliant strategist, but like
is him being a member of the Chiss. That has nothing to do with the Republic or the Empire.
Absolutely the case. You're right.
Yeah.
It has more to do with his nature than his nurture.
Yeah. But yeah, like, and I don't know. Since you haven't watched Rebels, like I liked Gregor being in this, and like.
Oh, is he in Rebels?
Yeah, he's an old clone in Rebels that's hanging out with Rex. So I liked that they have their little connection there.
Is Gregor in Return of the Jedi like Rex is speculated to be in Han's Endor Force?
No, but I have seen where like they do confirm that Rex is on Endor, but they don't confirm that he's the old man
Okay.
because I guess honestly I think it's because in 1983 they just cast an older gentleman, and I wonder if that older gentleman, like I know how the mouse is now, he's probably still alive, and if he realizes that his character was so big, he might or
You might sue.
yeah, he might deserve extra royalties for that. So if they're like, it could be him, it could not be him, but we know Rex was on Endor, like that's ridiculous. But
Yikes.
yeah, yeah, like I don't know what happened. I don't know what happens to Gregor, and then there's another clone named Wolf, who they're both in Rebels, but you don't like they're on the like I don't know what it's called, but it's a walker that they find him on, and but they only take Rex with them. So the other two are just somewhere, and obviously like Rex joins the rebellion.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happens to the other two.
Okay.
But have you heard anything about like the casting for Ezra in the Ahsoka show?
No,
Okay.
I haven't been getting these updates.
So the actor who played Aladdin?
Yes. What's his name? Mahmoud Assad or something. I know his name.
Yeah,
Damn it. I can't remember.
I can't pronounce it. So
It's Mahmoud something, and I know it is. But yeah, I am aware of him. I did enjoy his take on Aladdin.
yes, apparently he has supposedly been cast as
Mina Masood. That's what it is.
yeah.
Okay.
He has supposedly been cast as Ezra, and I don't know how. Like, it's the same way with. I didn't know how I felt with Rosario Dawson getting cast as Ahsoka, but 2 minutes into the episode, I completely forgot about it. So I guess because like Ezra is my favorite Star Wars character.
Yes. You've mentioned.
Because like Rebels is my favorite piece of Star Wars content, at least up until the High Republic. The High Republic is amazing. But like Ezra's my favorite Star Wars character in some kind of adaptation. And I don't know how I'm going to feel about him being cast and not being Taylor Gray. Like, they had Katie Sackhoff come in as Bo-Katan. They've cast Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn. Like, I don't understand why they can't. When the voice actor is cool with it coming back, and he could definitely look the part of Ezra. I'm sure the Aladdin dude totally could as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, again, like 2 minutes into the episode, I'll just be happy to see Ezra back. And then I won't think about it again. But right now, I'm just like, I don't know.
Maybe Mina Masood will take his page out of Rosario Dawson's book, who was very vocal and very out there about soliciting assistance from the woman who played Ahsoka in the show. So
yeah, that would be good, definitely. But yeah, like
that seems to like ease and assuage people's feelings about somebody else taking a role that's iconic to them based on what it is they heard on a cartoon.
Yeah, like it's so weird because like obviously someone asked Benedict Cumberbatch if he would ever be Thrawn, and that would have been my Thrawn. Like that would have been the person I thought, because him as Khan was pretty much him being Thrawn, but a normal color and regular eyes. So I was like, he could totally be, and he's already in the Disney family. But someone interviewed him about it, and he was like, "Who's that?" And they were like, "Oh, that's the blue guy with red eyes." He's like, "Nope, not doing that. I don't want to be painted blue all day."
Yeah.
And like at the time, I thought, "Oh, that's just going to be like a cheeky thing that he says," because of course he's supposed to deny it. If it was true, he would deny it.
He's been on Avengers sets, and he knows what people like Batista go through. like
Yeah.
every day.
I mean, he's also had to deal with like Tom Holland, who spoils everything. So I guarantee, like, I mean, whenever like Tom Holland would go for interviews, Benedict Cumberbatch would be the one that has to go to an interview with him because he knows he has to babysit him.
Yes.
And like,
my favorite parts about the Marvel machine is those two together.
Yeah. So at the time, I thought, oh, Benedict is just being like coy. Like, even if he got cast as Thrawn, he would make an excuse like that so to get out of it. But now, like, I like it because the voice actor's doing it, and it's the same person who did it in Rebels, so I'm cool with that. And it's the same thing, but like in my brain, before I even heard the voice actor, I thought to myself, Benedict Cumberbatch should be Thrawn.
Yes.
Cool. But now that's not happening, and I really like Lars Mikkelsen, and I'm sure I will like the Aladdin dude. I will never remember what his name is.
Mina Masood.
Yep, and I will never be able to pronounce that. So,
Not that hard.
Okay.
4 syllables.
Yeah. But yeah, like we only got 2 more episodes, and
Somebody's dying.
Yeah, Crosshair has Hunter.
Yep.
And I hope nothing happens to him because I've already said, hey.
Why didn't he just get on the ship? Why was he sitting there? Why didn't he jump with freaking Echo? What was he doing?
To give tension to the last 2 episodes in the season.
Okay, well that's dumb.
I
honestly like when they left the first time because it pulled out so you couldn't see. I was like, oh, so they're all on the ship and they're leaving. And then they cut it. I was like, oh, there's still 2 of them left.
Yeah.
No.
I know. It came and went and came and went. And
I was like, what? There's a whole base there, man. Just set people up there. How did they not have 800 troopers going through the tunnels?
Yeah.
What the hell was going on with that? Darrow is a fucking wasteland, it seems like.
Yeah, like I'm ready for the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Like, I'm wondering what they're gonna do with the clones, because obviously now they're shutting down Camino, and they have the little kid clones, and they're like, "Yeah, you'll just be trending somewhere else." And I'm like, "But will they?" Like, obviously the clones, we don't know what happens to them.
No.
Like, since there's not this clone up, like, unless new chick or the female Kaminoan,
Kaminoan scientist.
Yeah, unless she like runs in a room and activates all their chips to like kill the Empire, we might not get that Kaminoan.
Maybe they will be stored someplace like Grogu was.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Or like if you watched Rogue One, like you see that like all the Death Troopers, they don't talk. Or they do technically talk. Like apparently they talk into their mask, and then their mask says it in that weird way, and then gets picked up by another Death Trooper's comms, and then is translated back into speech. So only Death Troopers understand what they're saying. So
Nala Se, that's her name.
Nala Se. Okay. But so they could be all Death Troopers, and that we just never hear the voice, so that it's not a spoiler for anything else that's happened. Like, they don't have to be like, ooh, yep, that was D. Bradley Baker the entire time. Aha. I don't know. And like, because the Death Troopers are only like, they're major components of like the Tarkin initiative. So it would make sense that Tarkin, like with the Death Star and Thrawn and some other people, like all members of that little council that you see in A New Hope, like they would be defended by clone troopers when they realize, oh, our regular troopers are idiots. So, and these can be made to follow orders. So maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. It's possible.
But I just hope nothing happens to Hunter.
I don't know.
Because, like, again, I say I want to see Sylvester Stallone play Hunter because he can do it. by the time that they look exactly the same. It's ideal casting. Come on, Disney. You got this. Like, he's already in Guardians of the Galaxy. You can be like, yo, come in here, do this one thing, wear this headband. Yeah, we know it makes you look like Rambo, but it's totally a thing. But I don't know. I'm ready. Like, they've already announced What If is coming back in like 2 weeks.
Yes, it comes like it's right there.
Yep, it's
Wonderful.
like it's like right after the Bad Batch is over, I think,
Yes.
or it's the same week the Bad Batch is over.
I think that would be the same week.
Yep, because I think it's coming out on the Wednesday.
Okay.
Yep, it's coming out on the Wednesday, and the last episode of the Bad Batch is on Friday.
Okay, cool. I'm ready.
Yeah, and
they
then
also announced when Hawkeye was premiering.
Yeah, and that comes out in November, so I guess that's when we'll see the the next Black Widow going after him. So that will be interesting. Yep. Miss Florence Pugh doing her thing. But yeah, I'm excited for all of this. Like, we'll have things to talk about. Like, I do want to ask you, like, on our schedule right now, aka these little pieces of paper I have next to me, we have that we're going to start talking about Pixar movies. Is there any other franchise that you would like to talk about before we start on this 1,000,000-week adventure? I think if we start
I would like to do some sort of horror franchise when we get to October.
Ooh, so we could do something. Yeah, all right.
Could be whatever. It doesn't matter.
Shoot me some ideas for some stuff between now and October, and then we can do a horror franchise.
Okay.
So I'll look into that, because I think we got 1, 2, 3, 5, 9 weeks of content before we have to, how many DCEU movies are there?
There's 9, I believe.
Ooh, so technically we could do that or anything else that has 9 movies, or like 2 things of 4. Or
are you counting Snyder Cut? That's separate.
I would say we would talk about Justice League and Snyder Cut in the same week.
Okay, so it's Justice League, Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey. It's 8. Have that right? Yeah, I think it's 8. I always leave one off.
Yeah, no, 9. Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad.
Yes, sorry, you're right. Yes, Suicide Squad's the one I forgot. Yes, it's 9. 9 is what I thought.
Yeah, and by the time that we're done talking about this, the next Suicide Squad will be out.
Yes.
So yeah, that might actually be great. Is next week Man of Steel.
Okay.
I'm not too excited about it, but
Nope.
Oh, and I assume we want to talk about the Ultimate Edition of Batman vs Superman, or do we want to contract?
I haven't watched that one, but I can. So
yeah, I think they're both on
HBO Max.
HBO Max. So, and I guess we can contrast both of those in 2 weeks. But yeah, all right, DCEU. Write it down. I will. Yep. All right. So yeah, I guess let's go to that farewell. So thank you so much, Robert, for being on here. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So do you have anything you would like to plug?
No, like I said, upcoming matches, Full Metal, fandom, TMG stuff. You know, that's all coming. And other content-based things, which will unravel over time. But otherwise, you know, At me, Robert Kastner on Facebook. You know, that's the stuff. That's where I'm at. That's where I live.
Yeah, and I know you said you have your sports podcast.
Yes, I keep meaning to do stuff about it, but when you plan something when people don't have a job, and then when you get jobs, you get busy.
Yeah, and I know football season's coming up, so
Yes,
I'm so
excited.
Yeah, like theoretically, I could talk about football in here. I just don't watch football, but I could be forced to watch some of it if that's
You
something.
don't have to do that. That's fine.
I mean, I'll probably. Okay.
I know that you don't like the Panthers, so it's fine.
Yeah, like I would maybe watch the Chiefs if they're on because my dad is from Kansas City.
Huh.
All
right.
I will no longer watch the Patriots because of Cam Newton.
Cool, they suck.
Panthers exist, and I would watch Tampa Bay if they were on as well. But that's because Tom Brady's the best.
Tom Brady can suck it.
Okay.
He can suck it.
I mean, he probably.
I'm writing a book about him, by the way.
Oh.
FYI.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
he plays to people who don't like him. That's what I will say about it.
Okay. Well, let me know when you finish that and send me.
It's a concept. It needs to be, but I'm very motivated to want to, because every time I hear the name Tom Brady, it motivates me to want to write my evil thoughts down.
Okay, so Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Tom Brady. Was that good motivation?
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
All right, I will definitely remember that. Whenever I get the chance. But yeah, you guys can just follow me on Twitter at Colton Roberts 8 or follow the show at SuperNova_show. The YouTube channel, there's the link. SuperNova Network. I did a review of Justina Ireland's Out of the Shadows. I got it out on Tuesday. The book came out on Tuesday. So guess what? Only 8 people have viewed it as of this moment. So hey,
get on it, people. Come on. What are you doing?
And I don't really talk about spoilers that much in it because I don't want to be rude to you. Like, not everyone else can read a,
I mean,
4 books in a week and a half. It happens. Yeah, and like, I'm gonna start talking about some of the old Star Wars Legends books.
Yeah,
I really need to know if I should read the Darth Bane trilogy or the Thrawn trilogy. I'm thinking Thrawn.
Darth Bane.
What?
Darth Bane. I go with Darth Bane.
Ooh, okay. I'll do it.
Okay.
Darth Bane. All right. But yeah, so this has been a good show. Thank you, Robert, for coming on. Next time we have the show, Amaru will be able to talk about Collision.
Yay! Collision.
Yes. But yeah, let's sign out of here.
Don't forget to tip your virtual waitresses, everybody. Yeah.